Hey there, welcome back to the table. So, new day, not as tired. I was really jamming this video in late last night, so um, been anxious to get to this all day today, so I'm happy to be here. Um, so far, no feedback regarding any mistakes. I think the biggest thing I just got to pay attention to is that that town guard was a target. So technically, even the archers, if they were able to move, they shoot one, two, three, four, five, right? That town guard could have moved in, and these archers might have been able to shoot that town guard before the priest went and took his turn. So I think I might have done something wrong there, because the town guard goes at 50, and then that would have been before the archer. Because the archer, I think, was, or the guard was at 50. Um, Anyways, I think I may have made a slight mistake there. The town guard would have moved in towards the priest. The archer would have shot the town guard, which means that they would not have. Let's see, one, two, three. Yeah, this one would have shot the town guard, and then that would have made it slightly different, and then the priest would have possibly hit us. But I'm not going to retcon it because it's just not worth the trouble. I do think I just wanted to have that discussion though, to make sure if anybody's watching this to try to understand the logic of how these enemies move. This game is wonky when it comes to that. The enemy and the way it focuses and targets, it does take a little getting used to, but I think the town guard should have moved, and there's a good chance that the archer would have attacked it. But here's the thing. The archer may have missed. So that's the reason why I'm not retconning it. I'm not going to draw and try to redo everything. So we're just done. We're just going to continue. We're on to a new round. Okay, so we have a lot to do. We're only in the first room here, and we know there's two more tiles to go. And I know that seems cheaty to know that, but this is not a regular dungeon romp game. This is a game where when you run out of cards, you're over. So we want to make sure we maximize the use of our cards here. Okay, so it's next. We're basically starting another round. We're, obviously they're going to draw again to go, and then for the guards are out. The town guard's out, and so is the Algox guard. So this deck is no longer going to be used, at least for now. And then we have to pick our cards. And this is where I suffer, because I don't know these characters very well. I mean, if you sit down with a game of Gloomhaven, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, we want this one and that one. I'm not quite as good at this. The other thing is when the round ended, we got to be careful to remember this. This moved down to waning, and then if it ends one more time and nobody uses this, it goes to 0. So I don't know if anybody can use that wind or not, but that is a thing. This is a healing. Don't necessarily need this. We are currently sitting way in the back with our skeleton, and we need to get up front here to go after these guys. The skeleton itself should not be discarded. It's actually an active card, and yeah, I don't think we control the skeleton. Yeah, we don't control the skeleton. The healing cards are going to be very powerful because everything we do actually costs us health. But what I want to do is I want to get up close and start doing some damage. So this one would give our summon 2 move. I like that. That moves us, and it also moves the summon. So I'm actually going to play that one. And it would be nice if I had a ranged attack. This one grants 3 of our summons a curse. Not as good. This is, of course, really good for us, not as much for the summon. This is a range attack. I gotta get used to this new night iconography. So this is a 1 damage attack, range 5, and it poisons whoever you hit. and then you get another +1 if it's adjacent to one of your summons, which I don't think I can pull that off. But here, it would put a leaf on the board. Not that we need a leaf, but it's an interesting range attack. Grant an ally 5 damage, but it burns the card, so we don't want to do that yet. Curse somebody 5 spaces away. I like that one. Grant one of your summons adjacent to the target of the curse ability an attack. That would be great if I can get up there to attack something. Here we go. Strength. Target one ally 3 away, and it would consume the knight to add an extra target. Poison somebody 3 away. Consume the leaf to add an extra target. That's actually a really good one. I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to strengthen an ally 3 away. And so I think I want to do I want to go early or do I want to go late? I want to go early because I want the strength to help our guys. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And let's see. I need to get more organized about where I'm putting my stuff. So I'll put this out here in the open. That helps. I have to collect fewer loot with this character. That should not be a problem. So now we're moving up to this guy. Oh, that's right. This character it's labeled easy. I don't think it's easy at all. Our ally didn't last worth a darn. So we can move 4 spaces. I like that. We're going to go ahead and move 4 spaces. And then we just have to do an attack that does not rely on an ally. Let's see, 1, 2, 4 spaces gets us 2 spaces away from everybody. It doesn't quite get us to where we want to go. It's not enough. This would grant 2 allies 3 movement. That, of course, is a nice loot. Do I have any more range attacks? That would be really impressive if I did. This requires somebody to be behind me, but I could do it. That would work. 1, 2, 3. No. Although I could just move 3 spaces instead of the actual 4. Ooh, I could actually do this. And then I gain an experience point too. I just have to never use a potion. Yeah, we'll do that. And we're going to go really early with him. Alright, got another one done. Let's do Mr. Blinky Blink. I think we're going to go fast. He's got 2 tokens, and he can only ever have 2, so there's no reason to get a third. Let's go fastity fast. And does anybody consume wind? Let's just see if there's got any skills that consume wind. You would think a ninja type person would consume wind somewhere. Well, that's pretty cool. Nope, nothing that consumes wind. Let's see. All adjacent allies and enemies suffer 1 damage. 1, 2, 3. A move of 4 would work. He could make enemies suffer a damage. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And then he could lose a token to basically push somebody 3 spaces, which that doesn't do as much. And he can target everybody within 1. So you can go in, make everybody suffer a damage, and then push them all away. It's nice. I'm going to think about that one. I don't think... Do we need Pierce? The archer has no armor. The priest does. The priest has 2 armor. So this would work. and then all attacks from anybody that's attacking the priest, it would work. This guy is definitely challenging to play. It's just got a lot of weirdness. Like, that's a real good one. Yeah, I like that. Because we can go up against the 2 archers. But 2 damage is not going to be enough to... And then here, plus 1 damage, advantage, and 1 experience. Yeah, we're going to do that. He needs 7 or fewer experience, so that part's not good. So if I'm going to do that at the top, I will do this at the bottom. We'll do kinetic transfer, because I got to get the 4 movement to 1, 2, 3. Yep, I need 4 movement. Alright, we'll do that. Alright, so he's done. And next is the Violent Inheritance. I'm just reading the top of the card. So we got this guy who has... I've been afraid to get these going, because once you get them going, you got to move them backwards. But I think it's time. Actually, I know what I was doing. It's time to get these going. Requires some setup preparation, but I need to just kill things. So this is a 1 damage attack against 3 targets that are 2 away, and it muddles them. That's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst. Okay, let's get... I think I'm going to get my timers going. So let's get melee attacks to do 2 damage. We're going to get that one going, and then on the bottom, we're going to get +2 to our movement. So we're going to do a top and a bottom. And yeah, it's slow, and that's fine. Let's try it. Let's get this going. And I think that's it. Now we got to just draw their cards. So we are doing exactly this. This is going to be a 6, an 18, a 71, and a 36. So we're going to draw for the archers. They got a 44. And then the priest is a 23. So he's going to go pretty early. But he's not doing any damage to anybody. Okay, so with the 6, the banner spear is first. Then next up is 18, so the Bone Shaper. Then it's 23 for the Priest. And that is a perfect, well, not necessarily perfect. Then it is the Blink Blade, and then Archer, and then Drifters last. So that's our order. Okay, so we're going to do, these guys are out at the moment, we're going to do the Banner Spear. So we said we were going to move 4 and then attack like this. I think that's still what we can do. You could always change your mind, because this is also move 4. I'm sorry, this is also move 4, and then we could do whenever an enemy moves or teleports from a hex not adjacent to you to a hex that is adjacent, that enemy suffers 2 damage. The problem is none of these guys are melee, so this is a really awful thing to do. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to move 4, and then we're going to try to set up this attack. It hits 2 enemies, but I'm only going to hit 1, and it's going to be the priest. So I will gain an experience point for it, so let's get that going right now. So the experience point moves us to 2. And let's show you how this is going to play. And both of these, of course, are going to go in the discard pile. Alright, so I want to move 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to move the 4th spot. I'm stopping here. And just to show you the card requires you to be here, an ally to be behind you. So I have an ally right here, and then he's going to hit the two people in front of him. And so this is a log, but this is the priest, so he's going to hit bing bing, so the priest will take a hit. The priest does have 2 shield. This thing does 3 damage, but this is pierce 3, so we ignore 3 of his shields, and he has only 2 shields, so it means the full damage is going to go through. So we will do 3 full damage to this priest, and then let's hope we get a doubler or something. We already know the -2 is gone. Alright, we got a +0. Fair enough. So we just did 3 damage to that priest. I'm going to grab a little damage token here, and he's number 1. So we put it right here, and you can see that the priest elite has 7 health. So 3 of the 7 health on its way to doom. And that was a really good turn. The pierce was used precisely on the character that needed to be used, and it was sorry, it was decent damage. I'm allergic to damaging the priest. He must have cursed me. Okay, moving on. Next up is the Bone Shaper. So the Bone Shaper has this situation. Now they have a summon. So the summon can move before or after you. Let me actually pause because I want to make sure I got the rules exactly right. Okay, I'm glad I checked the rules for 2 reasons. Number 1, the summons always move before the character. And number 2, we killed that guard, and that guard was located right here. Or no, the guard was located right here. That's a loot token that drops whenever the guard died. Anybody we kill drops a loot token, including summons from the enemy, which that's different from Gloomhaven. And my apologies, because that's a Gloomhaven rule, and that just slipped my mind. Okay, so the summon gets to move, and I'm going to just bring the card to the camera here. He moves 2 spaces, and of course he's a melee, so he doesn't do anything beyond that. And what he does is he moves just like the enemy does, so you have to find a focus. So who is closest to him from a movement perspective? So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one's 5, 6, and then this is 5, 6. So they're both just as close. So we don't have to figure out which one he's actually going to go for because he only moves 2 spaces, so he's going to move 1, 2. And unfortunately, he does not loot. So that loot that's sitting there, we need somebody besides him to be on it. Okay, now continuing on, we now need to play our cards, because all he did was he moved and he had nobody to attack. So I'm going to do this now, where I move 2, and then I'm going to let him move 2. So we'll go ahead and play that, and I will move 1, 2, and then he will move 2 more. And we could go onto the log. That costs 2 movement points. And when we're granting him movement points, we get to control it. Because that's not an ally thing. I know it's wonky, but we get to decide where he's moving because we're granting him 2 more movement points. He's not doing a move and attack and all that stuff. So for example, we can put him on the log, and by doing that, we're getting him out of the way. Or I could just simply do 1, 2, which I don't think hurts me any, and get him closer to those archers. It also makes him a target for the archers, but I'm not too concerned about that. Having them be fodder means that we're not taking the damage instead. So it could be worse, but I'm okay with that. And then here, we're going to strengthen an ally within range 3, and if there was a night mana, we'd add an extra. Then we're going to poison somebody within range 3, and if there was a leaf, that it would add extra targets as well, and we would have gained experience points. I don't have the mana, so we're just going to strengthen 1 ally and poison 1 person. So I'm going to do that. This is a great card. So what does strengthen do? Strengthen will give an ally advantage. So whenever they do their next attack, they will have advantage. And so it's anybody within 3. So this guy hasn't gone yet, and neither has Blink Blade. So we're going to give that to the Blink Blade. So I'm going to give him Strengthen. And so he will have advantage on his attack. And then we're going to... oh, there is a reason I don't want this here. We're going to put it over here. And that's because the blink blade's going to do a damage to everybody around him. And so we don't... And it includes allies. So, yeah, we'll put the skeleton over there. Okay, so we did that, and now we get to curse somebody, but only if they are within 3, and this is where I think I'm going to get screwed. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's nobody to curse, and no, you do not have to curse an ally. So that gets wasted. I was hoping maybe the priest or somebody would have moved a little bit closer, but it just didn't work that way. I should have maybe delayed my move. Alright, so... not the best outcome, but strengthening the one guy is actually really good, because like I keep telling you, we gotta kill those archers. It is possible we could get killed. I'm not too concerned about the enemy killing us. I'm more concerned about running out of cards and then going unconscious because of that. That has me far more concerned. I don't know how many turns I need to be spending on this particular tile, but obviously we're on turn 2 here. The priest goes next, and the really good news, well, actually it's not good news. This is where it's bad news. The priest is going to move +0, and he's going to heal somebody with a target of 3 range, 3 health. Well, he's the only one damaged, so he's going to not move at all, and he's going to heal himself. So, that hurts. We went through all that effort to do some damage to him, and now he's back to full health. And then, yes, you saw that he had a reshuffle. So, I got to start I got to get these sleeves going. Okay. So, priest is back to full health, but the good news is he didn't attack us either. So, alright, moving on, we got the Blink Blade is next, and he goes before the archers, which is good. So we're going to do, well, a couple of things. First of all, we got to make sure that this token gets removed. I'm just going to put it there. So we're down to 1 token, because he went fast. And next thing we got to do is, you can see here, he's going to move 4 spaces. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. And then all adjacent allies and enemies will suffer 1 damage. So both of these archers, 3 and 6, are going to suffer 1 damage each. So we come onto the archer board, we put 1 on the 3 and 1 on the 6. And they have 5 health each. Alright, so then I can spend another token if I want, another slow token, to push them by 3. That would be great if there were traps around, but there aren't, so I'm not going to do that. We're just going to decline that part. So then I'm going to do a 2 damage attack against 2 people, and oh, by the way, they happen to be shaped just like that. I get +1 damage because, you know what? I'm giving this to the drifter. Here's why. He already has advantage. So that little strengthen thing, you know, there's no such thing as double advantage. So then he's going to gain an experience point. So he'll have advantage on this attack. Alright, so the experience point, of course, we took a pledge to get no more than 7. But we can at least get 6, right? I gotta gain 7 or fewer, so we can actually gain 7. So there's no harm in taking that 1 experience point. And I have advantage, and I'm attacking 2 people at once. So one thing I want to make sure of is I believe the advantage applies to the entire attack, which means that I have advantage against both of them. Sorry, I gotta pause. Sorry about that. Somebody was at my door. And yeah, I was just being in the middle of saying that advantage applies to the entire attack. So since he's attacking 2 people, I will have advantage against both of them. It's a very nice thing. Just like I have this +1 That +1 is against both of them, so it's going to be 3 damage against both targets. So it's a really nice card, in fact. So we will be attacking both of these targets. Here is his deck. I don't know if I've attacked with him yet, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle his deck. And yeah. Now these archers, they have 1 damage each, and I need 4 to kill them. I am going to be doing 3 damage. However, I have advantage. So there's a good chance I'm going to kill at least one of these, if not both. And also, from a movement perspective, they're going to have disadvantage when they try to attack. So they're going to have to move away from me to be able to attack me, unless they want disadvantage. So there's a lot of good things about me moving like I did. Alright, so here's the deck. I'm going to put it right here. And we're going to target number 3 first. And that is perfect. We got a +1, and the other card is a -2. So when you have advantage, you take the better of the two. So I'm going to take the +1. And that is perfect. So with that +1, I now have 4 damage, and this guy dies. That's excellent. I'm even impressed that I was able to do that. And I know I planned it. And yes, before I forget, he drops another loot token. Alright, and then number 6 here. We're going to do the same thing with advantage. So, boo, hiss. Yay! And then this guy dies. So we just killed 2. And that was most excellent right there. I'm getting ready to do some time travel. Excellent. Alright, Alright, we just cleaned house, and the only thing that's left is the priest. And the Blink Blade finished his turn. And then, of course, the archer is now no longer in existence. And then we have the drifter left. Now, the drifter is not attacking. Instead, and I want to look up that, so strengthen. Advantage on all attacks. Remove at the end of next turn. He's not attacking this turn. So, now I could try to do a move and attack, but I really can't. His cards are right here. And I am making it so he doesn't have a lot of room, but basically, excuse me, let's get these out of the way. We're going to play both of these cards. I'm just going to lay them, I don't know, off to the side here, just squeeze them in however I can. This one will give him +2 points for every move, and then of course the other one is going to give me +2 damage on my attacks, but neither of those are going to actually be an attack this round. So we're going to start on 1 like that, and this is actually going to go away, and I don't actually get to use it. So it wasn't as great as I initially planned, but that's okay. And then as soon as this moves to the next one over, I'm going to gain experience point. And let me zoom in for you so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. And that's where, so as those things start progressing to the right, that's where the other cards can start moving it backwards. And so this is really cool. Obviously he's taking a game mechanic, and there's a whole character that gets to mess with that game mechanic. I like it. I mean, it's like I said, this was the character that is least interesting to me, just on first blush. But then once I started looking at his skills, I'm like, I actually think I like this character the most of all the ones we're playing right now. The Blink Blade is actually sort of cool. The Banner Spear, I'm still jury out. And then the Bone Shaper, I'm struggling with. I like the idea of summoning things, but I don't know if it's ever going to turn into anything. Alright, so we ended our 3rd round. We have a ton of loot tokens just laying everywhere, and can't do anything about that yet, but I hope to be able to change that soon. And we're going on to the next round. So we just keep going, rinse and repeat. We got the priest there, full health. He has 2 shields. So what can we do about this priest? The skeleton will for sure be able to attack him soon. And This one is a range 5 attack that will poison the priest. And it adds +1 if the target's adjacent to one of your summons, which it would be, because the skeleton would be there. Oh, I almost forgot. Sorry. This went back to 0. So nobody ever used it. This will put a leaf on it. I actually like this. I'm going to go ahead and do that, because that'll poison the priest. And I want to poison the priest because that gives everybody else a +1 against the priest. Now, with that being said, it's a very high number, 46. I want to go early with this one. So do I have any low numbers? I got a 26. That's the only low number I have. And it'll let me move 3 spaces, which I'm cool with. Now, if the leaf was on the board, I would get to move another +2. Now, that's the problem. I am putting a leaf on the board here, but I can't use it because that leaf technically doesn't go on the board until the end of my turn. It's not there for me to use. Okay, but I am going to do this, and we're going to go with a 26. So I'm going to put that in the middle of the table, and I'm liking it so far. All right, so then we got this one, which is always a problem for me. We can grant 2 allies a move of 3, but I actually like this one. Let's move 1, and then let's loot. I need to move more than 1, though. That's the problem. All right, let's see what else we got. That's an interesting one. Oh, look at that. That would have used the wind. I could have done that. Look at that. It uses the wind. It gives me a +1 and advantage. All of that would have been fantastic. So I got to remember that next time we have the wind. This one looks straightforward. As long as somebody's next to him, and I'm next to both of them, I could do a 3 damage and bleed. I think that's possible. So I could do this and grant 2 allies a move of 2. I actually like that card. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, I can't do both, the top and the bottom. I like the top and the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and we're just going to play this for the basic move. I'm not going to do this shenanigans yet, and we're just going to do this for the basic move. And then we're going to make sure we go after the skeleton. Okay, next, moving on. We're going to the drifter. We now have +2 to all of our attacks, so this is really cool. That's a loot. So I could go in, hit him, and loot at the same time. But I do need a move, and I would need to move at least 3 spaces. Actually, I already have a bonus to my movement. If you're adjacent to exactly 1 enemy, move the character token on one of your persistent abilities backwards 1. That sort of works. This is a range attack, which also works. Oh, he's got a lot of movement. This one, there's no movement at all. I like it, but I don't want to do that yet. If you killed an enemy... I like this, but the priest is just not where I want him to be. Well, I can do this one for sure, for the 2 movement. I like this here. Then what do I want the top one to be? Yeah, there's a lot of range attacks with this guy. So, I guess we're going to do bloodletting. I don't want to, but we're going to do these 2. And they're both high numbers, so it doesn't matter. And we have a token left, so I got to choose fast or slow right now. Well, I get to look at my cards first, but yes, I am trying to decide fast or slow, and I actually want to loot. So let's see if he has a loot ability right there, and that does give me 2 movement points if I choose fast, but I'm going to go ahead and choose slow. I don't need to go right away. The loot ability is all I need, and that's perfect. So we're going to do that for the top, and then for the bottom, that would move me 1 space, but I get to heal 2 self. I mean, it's great, but I don't have any wounds. That'll give me 3 movement. I heal everybody else that's within 1, but see, I don't want to burn. Next 5 attacks. While fast, perform move 3 at the end of the action. Heal 2 self, and then you get regenerate. And then this is 3 movement. That's it. Yeah, we'll do this one, because this is a really powerful one up here. Bing, 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 bing. But it burns the card, and we don't want to burn cards yet, like I said. So we'll do both of these, and I can still go at a 49, even though it's slow. So I will go ahead and do that. And I keep forgetting I have this so I can poison whoever I attack. In fact, I haven't been paying attention to our equipment much at all. So I need to start definitely remembering what everybody has. Okay. And archers are gone, so we're no longer drawing from this deck. So the priest deck, they are going to do a basic move, and then they will attack 1 target within range 3. So they're going to basically do nothing special. And they got a 62. By the way, this one is just barely going to make it. So in this case, the drifter is going to be behind the priest, and then the blink blade, it's going to be this exact order right here. So you go. Alright, so we're going to start with the Bone Shaper. First thing that happens is the skeleton activates. The skeleton will focus on him. He's the only guy to focus on. And he will move to get in range. So this one takes less movement points, so he's going to move to that spot right there. And then, of course, he's going to take a swing. Now, this priest has 2 shields, and this skeleton attacks for only 2 damage. So there's a chance that the skeleton's going to do no damage. But we just draw from our deck, and I don't know if we've attacked yet, so I'm going to... nope, this hasn't been shuffled yet. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. I played ISS Vanguard today for 7 hours. And then I stopped that and I came right over here and played this. And I have to say, I love both games. They are both fascinating games. Vanguard's not perfect, but I still enjoy it for what it is. And I'm sure this game's not going to be perfect either, but man, oh man, I'm just having a fantastic day. Like, when you talk about, like, just having some days that are perfect. This one, I haven't left the house. I'm hosting games all day long, playing Vanguard multiplayer. I'm playing Vanguard multiplayer, which makes it so much more fun than playing it by yourself. And it is freezing cold outside. I'm in Minnesota. Super cold. And then here I am. I finally get a break. Everybody left. And I just moved to my gaming table. And and here I am playing some Frosthaven. And it couldn't be any better. I just, I don't know. There's just really great days in this world. And this is one of them. Now, of course, both of my boys are driving right now. And of course, I send out prayers. I hope they are safe. Because, that would totally ruin my day, of course, if something happened to them. But that immediately came to my mind, is the moment you start boasting about how great of a day it is the moment something bad happens. And I'm like sitting there thinking, no, not those, not there. Don't go there. Okay, so here we go. The skeleton would need a plus something in order to do damage. And there it is, +1. Excellent. So we get a +1, and that means it did 1 whole damage, but we will take it. Because this priest is a tough one. So, 1 damage there. 6 more to go. And for the skeleton to do 1 damage against somebody who has 2 shields, I think that is a great outcome. And it's bonus, actually. Alright, so now we get to do our... I keep wanting to say Bone Hammer. It's Bone Shaper turn. So we could do a... If this attack kills the target, immediately play a card from your discard pile to perform a summon action of the card, reducing any damage you suffer by... Oh, so you get like a free summon. Oh, that is so fantastic. I didn't even notice that. This is all your summons attacks are unaffected by retaliation. But so I could use this for like a basic move and then do this, but that's a melee. I think what I originally planned to do was this one, and then that, which is a range attack, which will poison him. And then I get a +1 to my damage if I'm adjacent. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move 3 and do this. So those are my 2 cards. I do like that other one. So here's the thing. I am actually going to move onto... This guy's quest is... Oh, he has to collect fewer loot. Oh, I could have looted. Oh, man. So I guess I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, like so. And then... yeah, and then we're going to attack. So 2 damage attack. This is the same deal as the skeleton. I need help. I need another +1, which is going to get harder and harder to do. And of course I didn't get it. So no actual damage to the priest. Wasn't the most powerful cards I played, but it does put the leaf on the board at the end of the turn, and that could turn into something. I don't know. I actually just played all my cards that consume leaf with that character. Next up is the Banner Spear. We have these 2 cards that we played, and I think what we were going to do is... See, the skeleton is here. The enemy, if you orient it, it's sort of like... Well, the enemy is... They're swapped. So the skeleton's there and the enemy's there. So that means I need to be here. And I think all this is trying to say is I just need to be adjacent to both of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a regular movement of 2. That's what we're going to spend that on. We're not going to do the banner. And a regular movement of 2, he has the winged boots, so I can just move right onto the log, and then I can attack him for 3 damage and give him bleed. And that's what I wanted to do. So 3 damage with a bleed sounds fantastic. And we're going to draw, and there's a +1, which is excellent. So that's 4 damage with a bleed. Now remember, he has 2 shields, so it's only going to be 2 damage. So I'm going to put a 3 damage marker on, take 1 away. And now he is bleeding, which is, I think, it's called wound. Yeah, wound. And so he'll suffer a damage at the start of each turn. And his shields don't help him with that. So he's at 3. So if I get him to like 6 damage, the 7th damage will happen automatically. So that was decent damage. I have a loot token back here I want to make sure we pick up somehow. And I think, unfortunately, because we're moving on to the Blink Blade. Actually, I could do it with the Blink Blade. We're going to do that right now. So where's the Blink Blade cards? Right here. So we are going to do this as the top action. So we didn't go fast, if you remember. We went slow. So we're going to do a loot 1, and we're going to do this one first. And so this is excellent. Excellent, excellent. I'm so excited. So with that, we're going to get bing, bing, bing. We're going to loot everything within 1. So we get all 3 of these. And I'm just going to set them aside for now. We'll resolve those later. And then here, I'm going to get a 4 - 1. I get 3 movement. And I don't do this because that's fast. So I'm going to get 3 total movement points. And check this out. 1, 2, 3. And so I'm going to loot that one too at the end of my turn. So I got all 4 of them with Blink Blade. This is satisfying. This is so satisfying. All right. I'm going to grab the deck of cards. I believe we did shuffle these, and so we're going to grab 4 of them, and I am excited. Let's see what we get. First one. Alright, we got a rock root. I don't know what it is. It's an alchemy thing. I'm sure we'll be able to construct something with it. Lumber, same deal. 2, 3, a coin, and 4, a hide. So we got 2 manufacturing goods, 1 alchemy good, and then this coin is not actually just 1 coin. It's a little confusing, but the way it looks is you go here. When you're doing scenario level 1, which is what we are doing, the gold conversion is 2. So that 1 coin is actually 2 coins. And I know that sounds wonky, but that's just how it works. So it's 2 coins, and then of course, everything changes. Like hazardous terrain, it takes 2 movement points to move on to hazardous terrain. No, I apologize. Hazardous terrain does damage to you. And then we're going to get 6 experience points if we win this mission instead of 4. Okay? Alright, so with that being said, we get 2 coins. So I'm just going to reach over and I'm going to use poker chips. And there we go. We got 2 points, 2 coins. And of course, the game expects you to just write it into your notes, but we don't have to do that. Alright, I believe these are discarded. And then the loot deck continues. I don't remember what was in the loot deck. It's in the scenario thing. There's 6 money ones, and for example, the rock root one that we got was well, in fact, we gotta somehow represent that we got these. But I'm actually gonna keep these for now. But this rock root one, this is the only one that was in the deck, so we actually got the most rare thing there. So I'm just going to hold on to them for now, and then I will discard this one. Okay. That was excellent. And then the priest gets to take his turn. And that's not always going to be pleasant. So he's going to focus, move, and basically shoot somebody that's 3 spaces away. The enemy does not want disadvantage, so for sure they want to back away. Their focus is on these 2, and then it's whichever one was higher in. So they're both. So he has to move, for example, and if he moves here, he can shoot him without having disadvantage, but he can't shoot him. So he's actually going to shoot the skeleton. And that's how he's going to choose between the 2, because it's going to take the least amount of movement to do. Alright, and then the skeleton's likely going to die here. The skeleton has 3 health, and this guy does exactly 3 damage. So, yeah, skeleton's dead. So, he was fun while it lasted. And his turn's over. And now we got our drifter here, who has... We have this 2 movement on the bottom and a 3 attack on the top. So the 2 movement on the bottom is a problem, because I'm standing where he was intending on going. I did not plan this out properly. So when I was moving her 3 spaces, I could have stopped her here. So I will do that. And I have a rule. And for those of you that aren't familiar with my channel, I can sit there and analysis paralysis this thing so every move is perfect for you, or I can just play. And then I retcon and say, oh, well, if I would have thought this through, this is what I would have done. And this is one of those situations. Is I knew I had 3 movement points, I would have stopped there. The other player, if they existed, would have said, hey, I only have 2 movements, so you're standing in my spot. And then I would have said, oh, sorry, I'll just back up 1. And that's how the game really would have gone. Now, we didn't know that the priest was actually going to move there, but we sort of did, because we had his AI card. And so by the time I made my move, I knew what the priest was going to do. Okay, so rather than sitting there and mathing it all out, I just play, and then once I realize that my assumptions were off or that I would have done something differently, then I just fix it, which is what I do there, and it makes the game go quicker, and it drives some of you nuts. I'm really not interested in hearing being your therapist, so I don't necessarily want to know that it drives you nuts. But with that said, trust me, this makes for a quicker game and a quicker video if I just do it this way. Okay, so we're going to move 2, and boom. And for 3 damage. Now, when I move 2, actually, you know what? I didn't even need to worry about that. I know why. Look at this. This is why. I went through that big long speech for nothing. On the next 6 moves, I get +2 movement points. So there. I just gained an experience. And I'm actually going to give myself 2 experience because I'm also going to get to add +2 to my attack. So both of them moved up. So the move, I actually have 4 movement points. Move the character token on one of your persistent abilities backwards 1 slot. So I'm going to move the movement 1 backwards 1. And guess what? You get the experience points again if you go forward. It's awesome. It's totally awesome. Okay, so we did that. And now we're going to go ahead and do the attack for 3 damage. But this actually adds 2. So it's 5 damage. Just love this character. It's 5 damage attack. If I kill the enemy with the attack, I get to move a token backwards 1 slot. So let's try it. And assuming I don't miss, I should kill this guy. Here's his combat deck. Oh no! You jerk. That was the only card. For those of you who've never played, that means I do no damage at all. What a jerk. It was setting up so well. This guy, oh, by the way, when he took his turn, he had a wound, so he would have gained 1 more. He had 4 damage. I only had to do 2 damage to this guy. I was going to do 5. He has a shield of 2, so as long as I didn't draw that card, or the -2, this guy was toast, and then I was going to get to move this backwards. So, phooey. That's right. Okay, let's keep going. I have a blink blade with 2 markers on him, so I think I'm going to go fast. Now this is where we start running out of cards, and so you have to be a little bit more conscious of it. If we're going to go fast, see, look, this adds Pierce 2 to all your attacks this round, and it puts the cloud out, which I don't necessarily need, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to move 3, and we're going to add Pierce 2 to all of our attacks. And then we have a 4 damage attack, which I think is excessive. This one's a 3 damage attack, and then it lets us move 2 and gives us an experience point. Yeah, I like that. We're going to do both of these, hit and run, and we're going to do the 24. And then he just has 2 cards left. Okay, moving to the Drifter, who I am falling in love with, although he missed this last time. By the way, with his movement, he had 4 movement. So he was here. This would have been 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Let's see. This would be perfect because if the blink blade kills him, I can then loot. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. We're going to do this for the loot, and we're going to make sure we pick a really high number. So I just need to move. Well, this is a great one. I got to move 4 spaces. So we'll do both of these. Yeah, and we'll make it a 70. And he has 4 cards left, so he has 2 more turns before he has to rest. Then we move to the Bone Banner Spear. I don't think we're going to be attacking anybody. I'm not going to worry about looting, although that would have worked too. Not as well. I can grant 3 move to 2 enemies. We're going to do this one for the move. And maybe that one. Yeah, we're going to have to do both of these, and I'm going to go late with him. Or her. We got one more turn left with that one before we have to rest. And then the Bone Shaper has a lot of cards actually left. So we can use this time to summon and then also move. So we can move 4 spaces and then summon a skeleton. I like that. I like that. So we're going to do that late. We're going to go late with all these guys, but we're going to go fast with the Blink Blade. So, yeah, I got all 4 of mine in. We're going to draw for him. And what we get is a 8. He's going super fast, and he's going to try to make it so somebody can't move. So, he's a jerk. He's going to go first. Then the Blink Blade. Then the Drifter, the Bone Shaper, and Banner Spear last. Alright, he is going first. He's going to move with a -1, and then he's going to do an attack, range 3, and then he's going to immobilize whoever he attacks. Well, he's got 3 targets to choose from. The Banner Spear, you can see here, he's next to all 3 of them. So the amount of movement he has to do, he can only move 1 space to here. So that means that this one's out. The Bone Shaper's out. It's between these 2. Because he would have disadvantage against the Bone Shaper. Then the second thing would be, whichever one he would be able to move to, or whichever one's closest in range. Well, they're both range 2, so they tie again. And then it's just whoever's higher up in the order, the initiative order, and it is the Drifter. So he's going to immobilize the Drifter. And then the other part that makes this hurt is the Drifter was going to loot. That was the plan, and because he moved, we're not going to be able to loot him anymore. So I don't like this. This plan is not working out the way we thought. But he's going to go ahead and attack. He does 3 damage with his attack, and that makes it 4. So the Drifter is now taking 4 damage. He has a quest to block 5, but that was not 5. So he's down to 6 health. And that just stinks all around. Alright, his turn is over, and yes, the Drifter is immobilized, so he's not able to move. So cannot move and remove at the end of the turn. So now we go to the Drifter cards. So, because he's next. No, I'm sorry, Blink Blade's next. Blink Blade had that move. So we're going to do this move 3 here would give him 2 shield piercing for the rest of the round and also put wind on the board. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I don't know if I can move the whole 3 spaces though. Yeah, actually I do need to move the whole 3 spaces. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, like so. And then we're going to attack for 3 damage. And then it's actually going to immobilize the priest. And then we actually get 2 movement points after the attack. So let's do the attack first. And so the cards are over here. So that becomes 2 damage. Now, one thing I forgot to do is at the beginning of the priest's turn, he takes 1 damage because he's bleeding. So he's up to 5. And we have Pierce 2. So that pierces his armor. So our damage goes all the way through. So we do 2 damage. 3, 4, 5 plus 2 is 7. So we have exactly enough to kill this guy. So he does go down. He was a tough one. Alright, so priest goes down, loot drops. And now I get 2 movement points and an experience point after the attack. And I know he's hogging up all the loot, but we're going to do it again. I'm just going to move 1 and grab the loot. And then, of course, we'll give him another experience. So he's up to 2. And then the loot is over here. And we are going to get another hide. So I will take it. Alright, I think if we look at their player sheet, you can see, you can put little markers on to show how many of each you have. I need to get maybe a little organized to do that, or I start using poker chips or something. You know, but maybe I should just not be so stingy and just write on my sheets. But for now, I'm just going to hold on to the cards. Okay, so his turn's over, and now we're home free. So the Blink Blade is done, and the Drifter is next. Remember, the Drifter can't move, so I was going to do a loot and then a move, and I can't do either of the moves, and there's no looting or attacking, so I can't do anything. My turn's over. I just lose the cards. So that was fun. Next up is Bone Shaper. And here I'm going to move 4 and then summon a skeleton. Now summoning the skeleton does do 2 damage to me. So I'm down to 4. And I will keep the skeleton out until he dies. And we're going to move 4. So the Bone Shaper can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're heading towards this door. So I got to move these cards out of the way. And of course the skeleton gets summoned. And I'm going to summon it right here. Okay, next is the Banner Spear. And the Banner Spear we're going to do this for the basic move of 2. And then I'm going to be able to heal 2, somebody within range 2. So I'm going to heal the Bone Shaper, get him back up to 6. And then, you know what? I'm not going to heal the Bone Shaper. I'm going to let him stay at 4. I'm going to heal the, who took the damage, the Drifter, and then that gives him Regenerate. I'm pretty sure that's Regenerate. And so the way Regenerate works is at the start of the turn, they heal 1 over and over again until they take damage. And so they even keep it if they're at full health. So we're going to heal him 2 and give him Regenerate. So let's do that. This guy was at 6 damage, so he's going to go to 8. And then we give him a Regenerate token. And then we just got to remember to use that when it's his turn, of course. And like I said, we're going to move 2 spaces. So we are sitting here, and remember I have the flying ability, so I can go here. I don't know, is that hazardous terrain? Let me check. It is debris. It's green, and I always forget what these dang colors mean, and I go over it all the time with you guys. They need a table of just that. I must just be the only slow one here. Okay, the orange is hazardous. Purple is just difficult. That takes 2 movement points. Green is they cannot enter the hex except when flying or jumping. Obstacles do not block line of sight. So I can fly, like I did, to that spot. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. That brings us to the end of the round. So we got another round to go. How are we doing? We're at 1 hour and 4. I guarantee you we're opening this next round. So let me move this further over. And should I do that in the next video? No. I am going to take a pause, and I will be back. Alright, so we got to get this door open, and then we're running out of cards, so we're going to be resting soon. So I got 2 actions left with this person, and I think I'm going to summon another skeleton. So we're going to go We want to go late. So I'm going to go ahead and get that next skeleton going. Actually, I do need to heal. And look, we grant the skeleton the loot 1. We're going to go ahead and do this. We're not going to summon the Wraith yet. That's going to cause us to take some damage, but the Amulet of Health, I can see how that actually would help the Bone Shaper. I really do. Although it's sort of counterintuitive from a thematic point of view. This one, these are the last 2 cards, and then I'm going to have to rest. So basically, I'm opening a door, and now all my characters have to rest. This is really bad timing, but we will go ahead and do it. This is a case where you have to surround the enemy. I don't see that happening. So we'll probably play this for its movement. And then this here, there is wind on the board. So I don't know if I'll be able to use this or not. But if I go early, I could use 2 movement. I will open the door. But unless somebody's right next to me, this isn't going to do anything. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll go early with this guy, because we want to be able to get everybody going. Now, when we open the new door, they all get initiative, but everybody gets to go. Actually, I'm trying to remember how that works. 1 second. All right, yeah, I was correct. So when we open this door, it doesn't matter where we are in the... So I can open it early. It doesn't matter. All enemies get to take a turn. So I'm going to flip this to later. I'm going to reserve. I might flip this back to the 15. But for now, all he's going to be able to do is open the door. So the Drifter has 2 actions. And remember, he gets +2 movement points. So I'm thinking... like, this is just a situation where I just want to use it for basic 2 movements, which would become 4. Although this lets me move 2 of my things backwards, which I do like. The question becomes, am I honestly going to be able to attack anybody? I have this thing that heals somebody within range 3, which is great, but then I don't get to move. The good thing about it, though, is I could heal the Bone Shaper, and then move 2 of my things backwards. But the problem is only one of them has moved forward. So the heal is a good one. I think what I want to do then instead is we could do a 3, which becomes a 5. And I'm going to mix it with this one, which will move 2 characters backwards. And we're going to make it an 89. So he's going to go late. Alright, and then we have this dude. This is his final action before he's forced to rest. And we got to go slow or fast. So let's just take a quick look here. This is going to ward him, which means that he would take half damage. That will bless him, which means we get to put a bless card in his deck. And then he gains 2. So this is really, yeah, that's a really good one. We sort of don't want to do this yet. He's not damaged, so this part doesn't matter. Although if he goes slow, he can put a regenerate on somebody. I think it's himself, which is fine. But that means he wouldn't move. I would rather he move. And then right there, heal everybody. But it gets burned. Or I could just do a basic move and not burn it. There is 4 damage. He muddles himself, though. That's crazy. Then you have to poison yourself. This is a really bizarre card. Alright, well, we'll just do both of these, and the question is, am I going fast or slow? If I go fast, I get another +4 movement, but then I think I'm going to go fast. No, I don't want to burn the card. So we're not going to get +4 movement. We're going to go slow. final answer. We're going to go slow. And we'll make it, we're going to make it 99. He'll go dead last. Alright, and the other thing is if I go fast or slow for the round, what happens if I rest? He doesn't say what happens. Am I going fast or am I going slow if I rest? And I'm assuming that if I rest, I can take a slow token. That's my guess. So I'm going to take the slow token now, which means I'm going to, rest after this. So, okay. Yes, I'm being a wuss. I'm not going through this door until 69 occurs. And I might as well set these up. This is at 69. And the way it works is after I open the door, if any of the enemies that get revealed have less than 69, they get to go immediately after. So then the Blink Blade is 99, so he's going to go dead last. This is 81, and this is 89. So we got some really late bloomers here. And I'm just going to put a space in because there's a good chance that whatever we reveal is going to happen. So the Banner Spear is going to use this for basic 2 movement. So we'll do that and go 1, 2, and that's opening the door. Opening the door, by the way, is a free action. The scenario book says when door 1 is open, we got to read section 5.3. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this out. 5.3. You run inside the gate and the breath of destruction becomes quickly apparent. The town has been sacked. Smoke burns your eyes. What structures still stand are bright with fire and the rest smolder. Their frames like black torch skeletons, and all about the wreckage howl the Algox, celebrating their victory in an unrecognizable language. There's a lot going on, and we have a lot to do, Scooby-Doo. Alright, I am going to let you take a quick look at this, and then I'm going to pause and set this up. So as you can see, both of the tiles are coming out, and there's a lot of the rubble coming out, but remember, they had me get all the pieces beforehand, so it's just going to be as simple as bloop, 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 and we do have some guards that are going to help us, which that part's good. And so here's our door. That's where we're going to come in, and I'm probably going to set up both these tiles and move that other one out of the way just to make room for my table, and I will do all this. So here you go. I'm going to set the camera like so, and I'll do like they always do. 3, 2, 1, and there you have it. Okay, it is an extremely busy map. Look at all those enemies. Now, the only good news is that we do have 4 town guards to suck up a couple hits. But beyond that, it is just insane. Now, what are our biggest threats? It's always the archers. There are 1, 2, 3 of them, one of them being elite. And then, of course, the priest is just annoying because they have armor, but it's not an elite priest. So we only have 1 armor instead of 2. And there's 2 of those. You can see here and here. And then there's a whole bunch of elite guards, or 2 of them, and then 2 regular guards. And then there's a whole bunch of loot on the ground already. So we got a lot of things, little shinies to distract us. There's rubble. There's all kinds of things like that. I think the part that has me confused is I have 1 extra piece of rubble. They told me to have 6, and I only ever put out 5. Where does the 6th rubble go is always the great question. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. Oh, nope, they do have a 6th one. Here it is. It goes right here. So some of these standees are so tall that it's actually hard to see the board. Okay, so we open the door, and then I have this thing, which is a melee attack. So I can't use it. It does say all attacks targeting you this round will gain disadvantage. And since I'm at the door, I like it. So we're going to go ahead and do this. I can actually expend the wind. which does give me 1 experience point, but I don't do any of the attacks. So I don't think I can gain the experience for that. So, but I will use it for at least the, I can force everybody to gain disadvantage. And since I'm standing at the door, there will be actually quite a few attacks that are going to be done against me. And it also helps me with the archer attacks too. So, okay, with that being said, let's draw. We draw for the guard, which got a 30. The archer, which is a 29. And the priest, which is going to be another 8. Okay, so the way it's going to work is since the banner spear already went, the priest is going to go next with 8, then the archer with 29, then the guard with 30, and then these guards don't go until 50, but they're going to go before us. So basically everybody's going to go before we get to go. And I think that's what this said. So you could flip it over. Instead of doing the left and right thing like I've been doing, you could flip them over too. Okay, so the priest goes first. So this is what he's going to do. Let's study that for a second. He is going to move, which they're both normal priests, so they move 2 spaces. He'll do an attack -1 at a range 3, and he's going to disarm, which is bad. Very, very bad. My dog is looking at me. No, you're not bad. You're a good girl. I gotta be careful. Here we go. So, -3. But what is their range? Oh, their range is 3. So, it's a 2 damage attack, which is going to be turned into a 1. Alright, well, let's figure out focus. Focus is going to require them to... They want to do the least amount of movement points, basically. Which is more important than even range. Because, like, here... we got to do it in numerical order. So number 1 would go first. He's back here. So, right there. Okay, so you can see there's a guard that's 1, 2, 3 spaces away. That is the closest. But it does not mean that's what he's going to attack. But it's actually what he's going to attack as well. Because he has a range of 3. So he doesn't have to move at all. And he can attack that guard. So he's going to attack that guard for 1 damage. Because remember, he gets a -1. And then the guard is going to get disarmed. But the guards don't do any attacking in this particular round, so it's no big deal. Let me make sure I understand what the guards do. The guards have an innate 1, which means they're going to have 2 shields, and they will do a retaliate 2. So they will retaliate for 2 damage, and retaliate works at what range? It doesn't work against, it says attackers suffer that much damage. I wonder if it works for, here, I'm going to just check. I want to make sure it works for range attack. So the answer is yes, but only if a range is specified. So since there was no range specified, it's an assumed melee only. So they're going to do the attack for 1 damage, but the guard actually has 2 shield. So assuming that the... he doesn't draw something awesome here. See, he did get a +1, but there is 2 shield on the guard, so he actually did no damage to the guard. Now, technically, he disarmed the guard, so disarming doesn't prevent retaliation, unfortunately. So, there's no point in disarming the guard. And the guard will not actively attack anybody. He just retaliates against anybody who attacks him. So, thankfully, it doesn't do much this particular round. And then the other priest is here. So, again, you got a 1, 2, 3, 4. And this rubble is just difficult terrain. This is, you're not allowed to move on unless you're flying. But none of them block line of sight. So, all he has to do to attack this guy is move 1 space. That's the same for this one. He can move 1 space to attack that guy. So we could do either or. And in this case, they both had the same initiative order. So party gets to decide, and I chose that one. So we're going to go up, and he will attack. Again, the shield is going to block. And so we basically the priest didn't do anything damaging this turn, which is great. So priest is done, the banner spear is done, and now we go to the archer. And the archer, of course, is a bigger problem. The archer is going to try to shoot you in the foot to reduce your mobility. So they're not going to move, well, they're going to move, but just their base movement, and they're going to do an attack with a -1 strength, but it's a range of 5, and they're going to make it so you can't move. Now that does impact the town guards if they do choose to go with the town guards. And so I believe, I know I read this. I'm going to check. The elites either go first or last. It's not numerical order. 1 second. Yep, it's elite first in numerical order and then regular. Okay, so this elite right here is going to go first. He's the only elite, actually. He has an attack range of 5, so without moving, he can already hit me here. And he can also hit the guards. Now, I give him disadvantage, and I don't know if that factors into who he chooses. They will move so they can avoid disadvantage, but this is a different kind of disadvantage. So it's interesting. But so basically, if we go by the rules without factoring that in, because I think the rules only say he's trying to avoid disadvantage, meaning that he won't stay next to you. I don't think that he's going to choose a guard who's further away because I force him to take disadvantage. So he's going to attack me because I'm, first of all, he doesn't have to move, but he could also hit other targets without moving. But secondly, I am within range the closest because that's the second priority. So least amount of movement, top priority, within range, second. And then third would be initiative order. And of course, he will try to move so he doesn't have disadvantage. But we're referring to the disadvantage you get for being next to the enemy. I am going to force him to have disadvantage for different reasons, so I don't think they factor that in. So they're going to attack me, and it is with a -1. And an archer, just since it's been a while, elite archer is going to do 4 damage. So he's going to do 3 damage to me if he hits. So here's the first card. There's the second. So he has to go with this one. So he gets another -1. So that's going to be 2 damage to the banner spear. And the banner spear is immobilized. Which is fine because banner spear is actually going to be resting. Okay, next up, we got these two, and this is the lowest number. Again, 1, 2, 3 away. He could possibly hit other people, but he's going to attack us. Now, he's a normal archer, so he only has 3 damage, which becomes 2, because the card is a -1 attack. And there's a -1. So he's going to go with the -1 again. So that becomes just 1 damage. So we'll take 1 damage, and we can't be immobilized again. So we're already immobilized. And then the other archer is going to do the same thing, the one at the top. So we did a real good job of opening the door and basically tanking up. So here we go. First one. -2. That means he's going to do 0 damage to us, and we will take the -2. Now, in case you haven't noticed, all these minus cards are consumed. That means there's a doubler in here and a lot of pluses that's left. But we don't shuffle until we hit one of those. So that one did no damage, and that was awesome. So archers are done, and we were able to get through that turn without... we took 3 damage, but that was pretty good with 3 archers attacking us. And now we got the guard, who's going to do a hasty assault. So they're going to move an extra movement, but they're going to do -1 damage. And let's refresh. The guards have a lot of health. They both move 3, and the elites do 4, and the regulars do 3. And remember, there's a -1 to both of them. So we're going to start with the elite guys. Lowest number first. That's this one. He's number 1. China, we're going to call him China, because China number 1. So he's going to do that, and so he has to gain a focus. Well, the focus is going to be me again, because I am the closest to him. both movement-wise and range. And then his movement is 3, and he gets a +1 to his movement, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to go 1, 2. So he's next to us, and he will attack with a -1, and that means he's going to do 3 damage. 3 damage. Oh, he has disadvantage. He's going to do 2 damage. So that reduced the amount of damage by 1. And I'm down to 5 now. Now this guy's trickier. This one in the back. And I'm going to move the camera a little bit closer. He only has 3 movement points. And he only has melee attacks. And he can go 1, 2, 3. So he can actually get to me. So maybe it's not trickier. That guard's too far away. So 1, 2, 3. And he will also be attacking. And we'll back the camera up. Again, it's going to be for 3 damage. But he has disadvantage. So he's going to do no damage. And what a great time to be drawing both of those, right? So he will miss. And then, of course, this finally means they're going to reshuffle their deck. So he flat out whiffed. Now, we got the regular guys to go, and there's 2 more up there. They will each take their turn, and then we'll be rocking and rolling with the regularly scheduled programming. So while I'm shuffling, I'll show you. The archers have already gone, and the Algox guard, and then the city guard's next. All the city guard's going to do is move. Remember, they don't do active attacks, but they're going to move to be like in range of other people to cause them disadvantage, things of that nature. And of course they will retaliate against these guards if the guards do attack. So I just saw lights. My dog is getting ready to bark. 3, 2, 1. Alright. So we'll put this back up. We're ready to go. So let's figure out what these guards are going to do. Okay, this guard here goes first. Again, it's going to be very simple. This guy is just 2 movement away, so he's going to move up and attack him. And remember, he gets a -1, so he really does 3 damage. It's actually going to be 2, and that's the first. Oh, there is no disadvantage, so that is now 4 damage against this guard. And the guards, the city guards, have 2 shields, so that 4 becomes a 2, so we sort of negate some of the damage, and he has 5 overall health, so he could actually take that hit pretty well. So 2 damage to guard number 1. And as you know, guard number 1 retaliates 2 per the scenario rules, so that's now 2 damage to the Alcox guard, and it's guard number 2, so he takes 2 damage as well. And he has 7 overall health, so he's also doing fine. And then this guy, same deal. It's the least amount of movement to go after him. So he's going to target number 5. And here we go. He gets... Oh, I'm sorry. This forces a reshuffle. Sort of stinks that it's the first card you draw because you just spent all this time shuffling and now you got to do it again. But that's why you got to sleeve these cards. They get shuffled more than anything else in the game. Alright. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Toil and truffle. And here we go. He drew a -1. Excellent. So that 3 becomes a 2, which becomes a 1. So and then the guard has 2 shields, so it did no damage to the guard. But the guard did 2 damage back. So number 5 also has 2 damage. And all the enemies have taken their turns, and so far the guards are the only ones that have damage on them, and then the 1 city guard. Okay, it is now our turn. Oh, the city guard actually gets to go. Remember, they don't actually attack, but they will move. So if we come back up here, guard number 1's not going anywhere. Guard number 2 has 2 movement, so he will go 1, 2. This one not going anywhere, and this one is 1, 2. His focus was him, and he's going to go around. Okay? That's where it gets the trickiest, because technically this is the shortest path, but he's going to avoid the difficult terrain, and he's going to go around if he can. Alright, we still have 3 characters that get to go, but that doesn't mean we're going to get to do a lot of damage. But we blocked the door really well, actually, and now it's time for us to bail him out. So the Bone Shaper goes first, and I'm going to bring the camera around this way so you can see the skeleton will go first, and this is where the summon's going to hurt us a little bit. It's going to clog up the door, so it's going to go through this character and then get to here for 2. And arguably speaking, these two I don't think are connected. This is the corridor here, so I'm going to go through the door like I did. And so then the skeleton is going to be able to do a attack against that guard, and the guard has no armor. So the Bone Shaper deck, we're going to draw, and we drew a +1, so that's 3 damage to the elite number 3. It still has 9 more health, but the skeleton at least did its job. Okay, and then now the Bone Shaper gets to go, and so we have a we're gonna summon another skeleton, right? And we also have we could, instead of moving, do this. On the death of one of your summons due to attack from damage from an attack, the attacker suffers 2. I'm actually going to put that in play instead of moving. So we now have, we're going to have 2 skeletons and then this thing in play. I am down to 2 health, by the way, because I just took another 2 damage to summon another skeleton. And let me punch one from the board. Okay, so we got another skeleton summoned, and I'm going to put him, you know what, I'm going to put him right here, so he's at least out of the way and there's a spot for us to go to. Actually, it doesn't matter. We'll put him up here. Okay, next. That is done. If this skeleton dies, he'll at least do 2 damage to whoever kills him. And I don't think that their range does not matter, because they suffer damage. It even goes through shields. Alright, after the Bone Shaper is the Drifter. So the Drifter, being way back here, has a regen of 1. So he's currently sitting at 9 health, and now he goes up to 10. So he is back to full health now. And let's see. For his cards, we are going to do a move 3, and if you're adjacent to exactly 1 enemy, move the character token on one of your persistent abilities backwards 1 slot. So we're going to try this. We're going to move 3, but it becomes a 5. So let's show. This 3 is going to become a 5, which means he gets an experience point again. So he's going to go up to 3. And then you only gain experience when you move the token forward, not backward. So yeah, we're going to get the experience multiple times. Okay, so like I said, we're going to move 3, which becomes a 5. So let's get that in play. We would like for him to end his turn next to just 1 enemy. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can't do it. I can't do it, folks. So the best I can do is 1, 2, 3, and I don't end next to an enemy. And then this says, move the character token on 2 of your persistent abilities backward 1 slot. I did make the right call there, since I didn't have anybody to attack. So this will go backward 1, and that will go backward 1, and now we're back to the beginning. I love this character. This is the best one in the game, absolutely. And I'm breaking the game with this guy. You're gonna be, this is like infinite experience points too, if you think about it. So love them, love them. Very good. The Bone Shaper is more my style. I like summoning things, but I don't feel like I'm doing a lot of damage with the Bone Shaper. The Blink Blade is a ton of fun. I actually think that he has some fantastic cards, and the Banner Spear stresses me out all the time. But so far, I think I've actually been playing it pretty well. Um, so right now, actually, the Bone Shaper is the weakest of my party. Actually, I don't find it to be doing anything useful other than clogging the map. Um, but maybe other stuff will come because if you look at the Summoner class from Gloomhaven, there was the same problem. All right, I am very thirsty, so I'm going to pause, get a drink. Okay, so then the last person to go is the Bleak Blade, and we basically said that he was going to heal everybody +2 within a range of 1, and unfortunately we blocked him from being close to anybody, but I will get to move 2 spaces. That's not very helpful. Actually, no, I didn't want to do this because that's going to burn. So we're just going to move 2 spaces. That's all we're going to do. He doesn't need to be healed. Or does he? Nope. The regen is sort of nice. He can put that on himself. That means he wouldn't be moving, though. Or I can move him some spaces. I don't want to move him 3. I do not want to burn the card. So no matter what, we're going to move him 2 spaces. Yeah, we'll do it this way. And so he moves 2 spaces. He's not going to be anywhere near the action. And he is not going to do the top. He's just going to do a generic top, which means he's attacking nobody. And his turn's over. So very uneventful. But that's sort of what happens when you're near the end of your deck. You just don't get the right combos. And he would need a lot more movement points to be able to do anything. So my concern is I am definitely in the fray here. And I now have to do a lot of resting. So we're at the end of the round. So let's do the new round stuff. The archers are going to have to reshuffle their cards. And I'm hoping I get it shuffled decent enough. By the way, each AI deck only has 8 cards, which I guess when you're designing a game with this many enemies, that's still a lot. But yeah, you could start to, over time, you're going to remember what a lot of these cards do, and you can actually start counting cards of, hey, they haven't played their Jack of Spades yet, that kind of thing. So we are at a spot where some of us have to rest. So for example, green here still has an action. So this is the Bone Shaper. And I would love to go early, but as you can see, I can't. But I will at least go as early as I can. And we'll figure out what our actions are going to be once I get there. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put him down at 70. It's a her, actually. The Banner Spear has to rest. So I don't know if there's no such token. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, use that to indicate that they're resting. So this is at the bottom. And the Drifter has a set of actions, and we're going to try to go as early as possible. This is a 14. Boy, that's really early, but I think... Oh, but look at the top. Doesn't really do much. But we're still going to do it. We're going to go as early as we can with the Drifter. And yes, I will be able to do something with it. So, Drifter's in. And then the Blink Blade has to rest. And that's our 4. So there's not much that's going to happen this round. So here we go. The Priest gets a 74, a 64. Power shots stink, by the way. And Calculated Strike for 70. So they're going pretty late. Drifter for sure is going first. The Town Guard is actually going second. And then, oh, I'm sorry, the Algox Guard goes next. Then the City Guard. That, oh no, I'm sorry, they're doing calculated strike. My apologies. 1, 2. Then Archers, 3. Bone Shaper, 4. It would have been nice for this guy to go before the Archers, but it's not the case. Then the Priest. Nope. Then the Algox Guard. Then the Priest. And then our 2 Resters. Now, I could have done this thing called a short rest. There's short rest and there's long rest. Short rest is you have to randomly lose a card. So you're going to... and actually, a short rest might help in this situation. Let me think this through. Well, first of all, let me explain to you what the 2 different forms of rest are. So, Blink Blade here has to rest. So, if you long rest, I get to pick one of these cards and I have to burn the card, which means it's out for the rest of the mission, unless you have a special skill that lets you bring it back. Okay? Out for the rest of the mission. So, that means I'm going to have less cards to work with for the rest of the mission. And then if I rest again, you see how this is working, and then eventually you're going to run out of cards. I get to choose exactly which card I'm going to burn. And I get 2 hit points. I heal 2. Plus, all of my stuff, like my dagger and my shield, they would get to recharge. But the thing is, I don't have to recharge anything because I've taken no damage. And in fact, I haven't used my dagger either. And so I am at full health, so there's no need for the 2. So I'm actually going to, instead, I'm going to do what's called a quick rest with Blink Blade. And the quick rest is, I have to shuffle my cards, and I'm going to randomly lose one. Now, I can force it, I think it's like you lose a hit point, or is it 2 hit points? Like you can choose to take a health damage and then have another card drawn instead. So you can say, oh god, I didn't want to lose that one. So I'm going to lose this card, which is this guy. And I told you that this is my really awesome one. But I'm okay with it. Let's go ahead and lose it. So this card, this is where I'm running out of desktop space. I'm going to scooch this over some more. And so that card is lost. And I'm going to flip it over so we know it's lost versus just being in a discard pile or something like that. So, like I said, it's out. But when you're quick resting, you still get to go. So I'm going to go fast. And I actually get to pick my actions. And I apologize because I've already seen the actions of these guys. And it doesn't matter. I was going to go as fast as possible. And so I'm going to still try to stick to my guns. But the biggest thing is I need to move a lot of spaces, because you can see I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got to move like 6 spaces to be able to attack somebody, and I may not be able to. So then I have to like wait until it clears out. So like this one lets me move 4 spaces. I do like it, but this of course can be pretty bad. Do I have anything else that lets me move more than 4 spaces? Ugh. This one would let me move 7, but then I'm burning a card, and I gotta be careful with that. But I'm gonna do it, and that actually gives me the 17 I was telling you about. So I'm actually gonna burn another card. But you know what? We're in the final scenario, so this is when you start considering it. So I will put him at 17. I would have done that without knowing that these guys are doing what they're doing. And then I can try to attack 2, but instead I would have tried to go after an archer. And this is a great one. 3 damage, and then an extra damage, plus I wound him, and I gain another experience point. Although it's a 20, and I don't know if I want 2 low cards. Do I have like a higher number card I can put with it? Like this one, where I get to move 2. That pushes him. 3, Does 2 damage. I don't need to do that. Speaking of which, the leaf is gone and the wind is almost gone. Oh, 3 damage, move 2. Add jump to all your move abilities. Yeah, I think we're going to go with the original plan. So, unfortunately, it's 2 low numbers, but that's what we're going to do. Alright, so that was a quick rest. Meanwhile, the Banner Spear is doing a long rest. The Banner Spear needs to heal, so that's why the long rest is going to help him. And so the Blink Blade is actually going to move up, and it's going to go after the Drifter. The Drifter actually has a 14. Blink Blade has a 17. So there we go. Now we're going to go. So Drifter goes first. And here's our final 2 cards. Remember, we didn't have much of a choice. This we could just use for a basic attack or a basic move. I could play this for what it is. I just don't want to. Or I could do... Excuse me. I'm going to do... It doesn't matter which card's which. I'm going to do a basic move and a basic attack. So 2 movement points, 2 attack points. That's what I'm going to do. Alright, so in both cases, the move is going to become 4 and the attack is going to become 4. And that gives me 2 more experience points. He's already up to 5. Alright, so we're going to move him 4 and we're going to attack with 4. So let's figure out what he can do. The Drifter is right here, so 1, 2, and I'm going to go 3 and then 4 to make room for somebody else, and we're going to attack that archer right there. So we're going to draw from his deck, which I have no idea if I've shuffled with him. I think I did. So here we go. I drew a -1. So 4 minus 1 is 3 damage to archer number 6. So archer number 6 has 5 total health, and now he's down to 2. Okay, it wasn't super exciting, but it was still good, and I got him into the room. Next up is the Blink Blade. So same deal. We're burning another card, which that's the dangerous part. I gain an experience point for that, and I'm going to go 7 movement. So again, when you burn the card, it gets turned over. It doesn't go in your discard pile. And I'm going to gain another experience point. I'm up to 3. Remember, I can get up to 7 with this guy. And then we're going to go in, and we could do 3 plus 1 would be 4, and then wound. Now, here's my dilemma. The archer is already near dead. I will finish off the archer, or I can try to kill something else. With 7 movement, let's just figure this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all I can do. This here is immovable. You can't go into this, and this takes 2 movement points, which I don't have, and I can't go through an enemy. So that was all I could do. And in fact, that archer is all I can attack. So I'm going to draw, and I got a -1. So that 3 becomes a 4, which then comes back to a 3 again. So 3 damage to that archer, and that kills the archer. We would have wounded it as well, but there is nothing left of that archer. So he's good and dead, and that drops a loot token. Right there. Alright, he at least did his job, and we got rid of one of the archers. So that goes into the discard pile, and off we go. And just in case you'd never watched my Gloomhaven playthrough, I don't like quick rests. I do long rests almost exclusively. And I know it drives some people nuts, or they're like, wow, I can't believe you do that. But I do. But it's because I use my items heavily. Obviously, I haven't been using my items in this game. The items sort of suck so far. But over time, it'll get better. Okay, so Blink Blade, gone. City Guard next. City Guard is pretty much going to do nothing, except this one will move here, and this one will move here. Now, arguably speaking, this one would move here and clog him, so he would have to move around, because one wouldn't be courteous to the other. He would take the spot. Alright, and so that's it. Town Guard's over. Next, Algok's Archer. We killed one of them. There's 2 left. The elite guy goes first. What are they doing? They're doing power shots, so they get a +1 damage, and they're doing a range of 5. So this guy has 1, 2, 3, 4 to the skeleton and 4 to me. And that is the... I'm actually looking this way too. The guards have 1, 2, 3, 4 to this guard right here. The guard goes with quicker initiative than the Bone Shaper or the Banner Spear, so he's actually going to attack that guard over there. So here we go. +1 damage for the elite makes it 5 damage, and then that's a +0. So he's going to do 5 damage to the guard. The guard has 2 armor, so the guard takes 3. And the guard in question is number 2. So we come over here to guard 2, and he takes 3 damage, and he has 5 total health. Like so. Alright, that was one archer. The other archer, I think, is going to... So, I'm 1, 2, 3 spaces away. The skeleton is 4. So it is going to attack the Banner Spear. And this one only does 3 damage normally. It gets a +1, so it's attacking with a 4 damage attack against the Banner Spear. And the Banner Spear has a leather armor. So the leather armor, when you are attacked, before drawing an attack modifier, the attacker gains disadvantage. So I'm going to use that right now. So that's one of the things that refreshes whenever you rest. And then the same with the wing shoes. I forgot to show you this, but the wing shoes were used because he had to fly over some terrain. So that's also gone. Alright, so we're looking at a 4 damage attack, and we have disadvantage, so there's a -1. That's excellent. So we'll take the -1. And so that 4 damage becomes 3 damage, and that does hurt though. The banner guy is down to 5 -3. He's down to 2 health. Okay, but the archers are done. Next up is the Bone Shaper. And I can't believe it, but that skeleton is still alive. So we're going to start with the skeletons here, and I don't know if they have numbers on them or not. Let's check. This one has the number 2. That's the number 3. So the number 2 actually goes first, which is crazy, because there's nowhere for him to move. So he's just going to stay where he is. The number 3 will attack this guy. We're going to draw our card. Does a -1, so he just does a whopping 1 damage to number 3 there. And guard number 3 actually has 4 damage, but he has 12 health, so that means he has 8 left. Okay, Skeleton's turns over. Next up is the Bone Shaper. And like I said, we're going to figure out his actions, or hers. So let's figure this out now. The skeletons are up next to them. I'm not. We can have our summons loot, which would help if one of them died. We can curse somebody within range 5. I like that one. Grant one of your summons adjacent to the target of the curse an attack. I'm going to do that. Absolutely. That's a great one. And then I'm going to grant an ally 5 damage, but it burns the card. I'm okay with that. I'm going to burn the card, baby. Let's burn it. Alright, so I got to make some table space room here. We will do this first. We're going to grant... I'm going to get an experience point for it. We're going to do a 5 damage attack against one of those guards. and I'm going to give it to an ally. So the 5 damage attack I'm going to give to the Banner Spear. So we're going to draw from the Banner Spear, and do I want to attack guard number 1. So guard number 1 is going to take 5 damage. That doesn't kill guard number 1, and I'm playing a dangerous game here because I could have killed guard number 3. And this may backfire, but well, hold on. Guard number 3 still has 8 health left. So I would have attacked guard number 3. Yes. I don't need to attack guard number 1 yet. So guard number 3 still has 8 health left, and I just did 5 damage. So this is 3, and then this is also 3. So he has 9 damage out of 12. I forgot, these guys are loaded to the brim with health. Okay, so we did that 5 damage attack. Now I'm going to curse. So the way curse works is I have to go into my deck of cards here, and we have these curse cards. And the curse, some curse cards are for the enemy. That's what the M stands for. And basically, in the old days, we used to be able to fill up the enemy deck with these things. But then, designer got smart and limited the number of curse cards that can go in. So these are curses that can go on the players. These are curses that can go on the enemies. In the past, you just had a bunch of curse cards, and we would just fill up the enemy deck with them. So they don't let you do that anymore. We can't ride in the back of pickup trucks anymore. So anyways, I'm going to grab one of these, and this is going to get shuffled into the enemy deck. Now, it's not sleeved, which I know that sounds crazy, but I got to go grab a sleeve. So hold on. Okay, here we go. We got, so whenever you curse the enemy, the deck has to be shuffled. So what basically a curse does is it's putting a null card in, and if they draw that null card, it's going to be just like the normal null card. There will be no damage. But the moment that they draw it, it gets discarded. So it's a one-time deal. But when you fill their deck with these things, they do pay off. So got some nice shuffles going on. And we're going to do the last couple here. And there we go. So it goes into the monster deck, and any monster could end up drawing it. So even though I'm cursing monster number 3, that doesn't mean monster number 3 is the one that's going to get the curse card. They all share the same monster attack deck. So, okay, so we did that. We did the curse. Then we're going to grant one of our summons adjacent to the target of the curse a regular attack. And so our summon actually does a 2 damage attack. So we will do that. And then it puts Knight on the board. So I will do that right now. The 2 damage attack will be drawn here, and I drew a 0. So we do 2 damage to guard number 3, which is so unfortunate. We're at 9, which becomes 11. We're at 11 out of 12 damage. We did not kill him. And the reason that's unfortunate is he's going to get to go. So Bone Shaper's turn is over, and now the guards get to go. So we're going to start with guard number 1. He's next to the Banner Spear. He is attacking the Banner Spear. There's no question about it. He doesn't have to move. He's the only one. He gets a +1 to his damage. He's elite. He's going to do 5 damage against the Banner Spear, which will kill the Banner Spear. So there it is, 5 damage to the Banner Spear. So that means we have to discard a card to prevent that damage from happening. And right now, the Drifter is saying, "Oh man, I'm going to get rid of Unbreakable Wall. This one looks really impossible to set up. So, and I'm not too concerned about that one. Although 2 experience points is nice. Well, let me make sure. But Unbreakable Wall is like the least exciting card, and the 2 experience points is why that one's nice. You know what? This one's, well, the bottom stinks. But yeah, we're going to get rid of Unbreakable Wall. So that one is burned for him. or her. But she avoided taking the damage, which is where it matters. Now, number 3 goes next. He's next to the skeleton and the banner spear. The skeleton is higher in initiative order, so the skeleton gets the attack. So 5 damage against the skeleton becomes 6. The skeleton is gone. Now, hopefully you haven't forgotten, but I have a card here called Angry Spirits. On the next death of one of your summons due to damage from an attack, the attacker suffers 2. So this is going to trigger, and that goes into the discard pile. It's not a burn card. And this is the guy who only had 1 health left, so he dies. Alright, so we got him. Like Osama bin Laden. We got him! Alright, so he goes down, and the skeleton did its job. Alright, then we have these 2 guards in the back here. The first guard, by the way, these guards are regular guards, so they're only going to do 3 damage plus 1, which is 4. So he's going to do 4 damage against the town guard number 1, and that becomes 6. So that's not good. The guard does block 2 of them, which then becomes 4, but the city guard already has 2 damage. This city guard dies. He did have retribution, but you have to survive to give retribution. Then this one is going to attack number 2 here. And actually, I can decide. So I'm going to make him attack number 5. So here we go. He's going to do, let's see, it was 3 plus 1 is 4 damage, minus 2 shields. He's going to do 2 damage to number 5, and then he's going to take 2 damage. So that's guard number 5. He's going to take 2 more damage. He's down to 4 overall damage. Alright, I have to check, but I'm pretty darn sure that the town guard does not drop loot. And that would have changed the way the last tile played. But I'm pretty sure that allied characters don't drop loot. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to say no. I'm sure it's in the rulebook somewhere, but that was hard to find. I did verify that the monster drops loot. I don't think allies do. I know for sure that summoned allies don't. The thing that's weird is that the city guard shows up as an enemy. But they aren't the enemy for the purposes of this mission. They're allies to you, and enemies to all other type. So, I'm going to assume that allies don't drop. And I know it probably says it somewhere. That was one of the things that was actually harder to look up. Alright, we're not done. The Algox guard is done, and now the priest's turn. And we happen to have 2 priests out here still. And they are doing a move -1. And then an attack +1 with a range of 3. So all these guys are doing extra damage on their attacks, which stinks. So their move is, since neither of them are elite, their move is only 2 movement points, which a -1 makes it a 1. So they can move 1 space and attack 3 spaces away. So priest number 1 here is actually going to move and attack Blink Blade. So he gets a +1 to his attack, and there's a -1. And his attack normally only does 2 damage, so Blink Blade takes 2. So he's down to 6 health. And then the other guy here, I don't think he can hit anybody. He could move 1 to here, but if you look 3 spaces away, he doesn't hit anybody. But his focus is on these guys, so he will at least move that 1 space, but yeah, it doesn't help him to attack anybody, so he doesn't attack. So that part helped. Okay, we're not at the end of the round yet. The Banner Spear is doing a long rest. So in the long rest, he's going to get rid of his Immobilize, because he's not moving. In a long rest, he gains 2 health, so he's going to heal to 4. She, not he. And then the armor and the boots are going to refresh. And then also has to choose a card to burn. I know we just burned a card, but we've got to choose another one now, because that's part of the rest action. Oh. +3 to all allies. And then you suffer a damage for every one you heal. That stinks. This reinforcement, I don't know, it seems nice, but with 1 health, he's sort of a crappy reinforcement. But, you know, he's helpful for getting more allies on the board. This one's really nice for the movement. This one's just basically, you know, anybody who moves near you is going to take damage. This is a good one because it unarms people, but it's a weird setup. The banner is worth it. All allies within 2 range add +1 to their attack. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like all of these, actually. This one's one where you have to surround them, and then there's a bunch of looting. I'll go ahead and get rid of pincer movement. Alright, it's a tough choice, but that's what I'm going to do. Alright, that's a long rest. So, was able to get our items back, and here we go. New round. I know I'm over 2 hours, but we're going to try to... I don't know if I can finish this. This is going to be another bit here. I'm going to end the video here. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.